At the end of 2019, Vittorio Bissaro Maelle Frascari won the Nacra 17 World Championships in Auckland. And on the line with me from Arco in Italy is Vittorio. So thanks for joining me today. And
hi, everybody.
I know that anyone watching this, you're going to get a lot out of this. So this is 40 seconds before the start of the medal race in Auckland at the end of 2019. Vittorio, just paint us the picture of how the week had gone so far for you and what you needed to achieve going into this final medal race.
Well, it was a super week for us. We were very confident and happy about our speed and the way we interpret the course area. So we really enjoyed racing in New Zealand, but we had some bad races during the final part of the championship, and at the end we ended up very close to two other boats for the gold medal, and these two boats were the Denmark 71, so Lane and CP, the first boat you see on bottom left, and then Australia 2, so Jason and Waterhouse and Lisa Darmanin, and they are somewhere on the right.
And that's so you we see.
Yeah, it was a free boat bet. Here we are, Australia 2. So the first of us that will hand it at this race will hand it with the gold medal. And so that made this race somehow very easy or very complicated. There were a lot.
It was basically a three-way match race in a way. Just whoever beat who was going to win the better medal.
Exactly, yeah. We were separating just by 3 points. So at the end, the goal was pretty simple, trying to be in front of these two boats.
So you're confident in your speed. You know you've got good pace in Auckland. So what was your strategy going into the start?
Well, we decided not to split to these two boats and then just build our regatta. So try to stay with them and hopefully trying to be in front of them and then control them from then to the end of the race.
Let's see how that start plays out. So you're on start, we see you left of picture there. What are you thinking at this stage?
Well, we are still in a good position. I have not very good memories from that start because I know that at the end we ended quite late. So probably now we are still in a good position. So it was not a problem of positioning before the start. It was just once we decided to pull on the main sheet. And in order to avoid OCS, we were late. So here we are, not well placed, and we had to tack very soon. So we had this tack, and it was a critical, if you can stop for a while, and it...
Sure.
It was a very critical moment of the regatta because we had a bad start. So our, let's say, strategy before the start was to stay on starboard and control these two boats. And we had we were forced to tack almost immediately. But we were able to decide for a good, let's say, a good channel with the port boat parade, and we had this close tack to the British, and I was a little bit scared at the moment because they had a big jump, but I was confident that we made the tack. We closed the tack, so we were respecting Rule 13. But you never know, so I was in the first 10 seconds here after the tack, I was afraid that the umpire will show a red flag to us. And so we had this 10 seconds of a lot of pressure, but then we just focus on speed and try to maintain our channel. And hopefully,
You've got the Spanish to windward of you and the British to leeward. You're Italy 5 at the top of the picture. How safe do you feel at this stage?
Well, we were not in very good position also because we know that the Spanish are very fast on this high, strong breeze, and their intention for sure was to try to roll over us. But again, we were happy with our speed, and we tried to keep this channel as long as possible. Once we were going to the right side, of course, we knew that our competitor were on the left, but once we were going on this side of the race area, we were experiencing like an advantage compared to others. So we were seeing a kind of a pattern that were building on the right, and also we saw from 49er medal race that were sailing before us that the right was paying. So we were confident that we were on the good spot of the race area, but we will start talking about the fact that our competitors were on the other side. So our intention was just to kind of collect a little leverage and then tack on starboard again in order to control. So if I remember well, in I would say a few seconds, we will tack and go where the others, so to the left fleet, where our competitors are.
In strong winds, with the boats doing this kind of speed, how many tacks can you afford to do in a Nacra 17?
Well, if you want to win races, one tack is enough. But if you want to win, to beat someone, you can play maybe some 2 extra tack.
Okay, so you have to choose your moments very carefully when you tack, because every tack is expensive.
Absolutely, yeah. We will lose probably 2 lengths each tack.
Okay,
so it's
only
four lengths in total. So it's quite a lot, but still you can close the leverage compared to others. So, and in a strange place, strange race area like Auckland was, sometimes it's smart to have a 2 extra tack. You are reducing your risk.
Now, we just saw Australia 2 tacking away, and in fact, there are your 2 rival boats just there on the right. They've just gone out of the right of the picture. You're looking over your shoulder. What are you thinking about now?
Where are other competitors? Exactly. So I probably see, this is the moment. Once I saw Australian and Denmark coming to us, coming to the right with us, I said, okay, let's stay with that. But as soon as Australian tack, I decided to follow them and close the leverage to these 2 boats.
Okay. Now that looked like a pretty smooth tack to me. What makes a good tack? What makes a bad tack?
Excuse me, Handy. Can you repeat the question?
Sorry. That looked like a good tack. Were you happy with that tack that we saw?
From a technical point of view, yes, and from a mechanical point of view, it was an average tack.
Okay, yes. So mechanically, what makes a really good tack?
Well, is a matter with this kind of condition that are not too much. It's just a matter of speed. So try to be as fast as possible on the other side while keeping a continuous angle, rudder angle while maneuvering.
Okay. And how easy or difficult is that to execute in a pressure situation like this?
It's very easy if nothing strange happens to you.
Right.
Sometimes something can happen, but hopefully nothing happened. We were, of course, in the medal race that were raced just before this one. We saw the best team in the world having a problem during a standard tack. So, of course, I was talking about Pete and Blair. So, of course, sometimes something strange can happen, but I would say that 90 times over 100 will not.
So you're referring to where Pete Burling and Blair Tuke on the same day broke a tiller extension during attack, proving the point that even the very best can go wrong from time to time.
Yeah, I know that.
So now you are just to the left of the middle of the picture, Bissaro, and now you're just tracking Waterhouse and Darmanin, the Australians who are at the top of the screen. There you are. Yellow jerseys, yellow helmets. I assume the helmets are always yellow, or is that just for special occasions when you're leading?
No, we started this season with the yellow helmet, and it seems a good choice.
It goes nicely with the jersey, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So these are your rivals. What are the strengths of Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Darmanin?
Well, they are very, very good team because they are competitive in all kind of condition. And once the pressure is on, they never lose momentum. So I'm sure they are one of the best competitor around.
Yeah, and narrowly missed out on the gold medal in 2016. You put a hard tack on them there. It looked like you were putting a hard cover on them. That must have been hurting the Australians quite a bit.
Yeah, that was our goal for sure. Just once we had the opportunity to consolidate our advantage, so make dirty hair to people, to sailor training us.
Meanwhile, we just saw a glimpse of the other Italian team in this medal race, Ruggero Tita and Caterina Banti, leading this race, but not in contention for the medals. There we have you on port tack, Maelle Frascari, your crew, just looking around, checking in, I'm sure, on the opposition as you are now.
Yes. Once your opponent, your competitor are behind you, it's very easy. So we had this opportunity in the last meter going to the windward mark. So what I was trying was trying to have a compromise between our best VMG and the position of our boat that ruin the more so they make the more the dirty hair to the sailor behind us.
A very effective move, because tacking out of that situation is not a great escape route for a Nacra 17 either, I don't suppose.
Absolutely. You have to make 2 extra tack, but once you're that close to the ley line, it normally costs more than 4 length.
Now,
so,
I'm just going to take this back just a little bit. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm aware of that. But just comment on this body movement. There seems to be a lot of separation between Tita and Banti and the boat, and they seem to be very mobile, more mobile than I think you and Maelle are. Is that correct? And what's going on there?
Well, once the boat starts foiling, you need to be that separated, because both the skipper and the crew must move a lot, and you need to be independent and not to touch with your teammate while doing that. But so it's just because they were foiling. It's not a standard upwind maneuver, this one.
I understand. Okay, so they were overstanding the ley line a little bit, which just gave them the opportunity to get foiling.
Yeah.
Now, straight into a jibe. That's an unusual move for a leader to go straight into a jibe. What was happening in this race that made them do that?
Well, they gain a lot from the right. All of us knew that while making this first upwind, that right was paying. So they decided just to go on the favored side of the race area. We also knew that, but we were more on the middle because of our competitor. But once we had the opportunity to do the jibe set, we did that straight away, as we see from this image.
And after a pretty awful start where things went against your plan, when I look down the scoreboard, things are going very nicely for you, even after just one leg of this course. You're in 3rd place. Your rivals are in 7th and in 10th place. So you really, that cover that you put on Waterhouse and Darmanin really hurt them.
Yeah.
So not afraid to apply some aggressive tactics. Anybody else would do the same. We understand that that's how it works. What do you do now that you're fairly comfortably ahead of your rivals at the moment?
Yeah, now I had a bad call because once we started going downwind, we can decide either to go double trapezing, so like we see in this picture, or single trapeze. And in this condition, we were not very confident downwind these days with this kind of, it seems flat, but it was not that flat. So we were not very confident. So we decided to go for a single trapeze downwind, and that cost us a little bit. So as you see from this tracker, we are going slower. to boat around us. So that closed a little bit the gap compared to boat behind us. And also after our jibe, we had the British that jibe just in front of us. And we lose a few boat lengths that cost a lot to us. So at the end, we ended very close to the boat that we were leading for probably like 100 meters at the hopping mark.
And so the reason for single trapezing was for safety reasons, was it?
Yeah, it was a safety reason.
Okay.
It was a kind of, it's in this kind of race, it's always a compromise between you have to risk the less possible that can still lead you to the goal you have. And I was the impression that in this condition, single trapeze was the best compromise between a risk and reward. So that's why I decided I called for that, but it was not the right call.
But bearing in mind that you had a bit of a lead, that gave you the sense that you could take less risk downwind. Is that what you were thinking?
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I did that. I normally in this condition with single trapeze, you can have a very close VMG. You are just going lower and slower, but lower as an angle. But probably the wind dropped a few knots, and so our VMG was not the same at all. But of course, during this downwind, we realized that. So let's say after at half of the leg, we move again to the double trapeze. But let's say the mistake was already there. We consolidate our lose.
Yes, well, let's see how the scores line up as we go around the Leeward Gate. Already Tita and Banty, they've got a good lead now. They're going out to the left-hand side. Bearing in mind that the right-hand side paid, oh, actually, I've just seen them tack already, but I was going to ask, why would they have chosen the left?
But they tack immediately. So
yes,
here they are. So they tack very soon.
But why wouldn't you just go around the other gate? This is you going around the left-hand gate.
Okay, because normally once you are in a fleet, it's better to go for this gate and tack soon rather than going on the starboard parade, on the port parade, because you are not free to make your own VMG. So if you want to go right, it's often a good choice to go on the right gate going downwind and then tack soon.
Understood. So you did that and you tacked almost all the Argentinians make a bit of a mess of their rounding there. But yes, we saw you going around the mark and then tacking almost immediately. Now we see Waterhouse and Darmanin going around. They are still in 10th place, and Senholt and Lubeck are in 6th. So you're only one place ahead of the Danes. So they're your biggest threat right now. We see the two of you. That's you on the left. What are you thinking now?
Well, it was very easy because both of us were aiming to the right side of the race area. And we knew that at the moment it was just a matter of speed. So our goal was to gain enough to them in order to be able, once they will tack, to tack in front of them and consolidate our advantage.
Which boat would you rather be there right now? Would you want to be them or where you are?
If you are a confident boat, it's better our position. But I would say that it's very close at the moment because you are on the Danish boat here on the right side. So it's just, at the moment, it's just a matter of speed. So the fastest will gain is not a matter of a best tactical position. I think the two positions are pretty even.
Well, actually, even as I speak, I don't know how much things have changed. Sometimes camera angles can be misleading, but it looks like you have moved forwards on the Danes there.
Yeah, for sure. Once we sort from the gate, we were more even. And then while developing this leg, we were consolidating. We were seeing a result of our tuning. So we were seeing that we were gaining, and that's why we keep there and control them to the starboard deck line, ley line.
How much are you thinking about the Australians at this stage?
Well, I was looking at them for sure, but because of you have always to make a choice, and because the right was paying and our closest competitor were just underneath of us, we decided not to care about the Australian.
Looks like the breeze has picked up. The boats are absolutely ripping through the water now. Did it increase at all during the race?
I don't think so. It's
So
just a
that's
different
just a
camera perspective, probably.
yeah, yeah, okay. Um, what are your feelings now? Well, let me ask you: have you won a world championship in sailing before this one?
No major world championship. Some youth or some other kind of easy world championship, like one design hobby classes, but no, not this kind of world championship. No Olympic world championship.
So, how are your nerves at the moment?
Well, not that much because we were in good mood with Maelle. There were some times during the week where we were not totally aligned, and that made me more nervous. But at the moment, we were both of us very focused on our goals, so we were confident on the team and what we had to do.
We've talked before about your analytical approach, and maybe Maelle being more the classic Italian. She brings the passion and the emotion to the team, and you bring the analysis. But in this particular instance, you're very much on the same page, are you?
Yeah, I agree with you. We were both analytical and emotional at the moment.
Right. I know that we don't have you for that long, so I'm just going to take it forwards a little bit. So here we are. You've still got you've got the Danes quite well squared away now. You've got a loose cover on them, so you're not giving them bad air, but you've got them in a very nice tactical situation now.
Yeah, of course, you cannot produce bad air to the boat trailing you on both sides. So on one side, let's say that in order to produce bad air, you have to be quite in front of them. And as soon as you do that and the boat attack, then you are on a line on them and not in front of them. So we tried, once we were in front, when we were high on them, and we tried to go low, so say fast mode, in order to make the bad air, but they were trying to do the same. So let's say that now we are the cat, they are the mouse, so they try to escape from us.
We saw that perfectly illustrated just then. Your boat speed is almost up to 15 knots, and you've managed to sail over the top of them. I still don't think you're giving them bad air there, but you're not far off it.
Yeah, in this kind of situation, the team work must be very aligned, because as a skipper, I just try to bear away as much as possible in order to get in that, let's say, bad air position. But the crew must be very accurate in trimming the mainsail, because let's say the true wind angle is not always the same, of course. And I think Maelle is very, very good in doing that. So I was happy to have her here helping me to put the boat in the right spot.
And you seem to be very comfortable on them now. Your boat speed tends to be a little bit higher than theirs for most of the time. So going out to that ley line, you must have felt like you were in good control.
Yeah, we were in good control. But again, we were not that fast downwind. So we knew that nothing was done. We were just doing our job upwind, and then we were lacking still an important leg of our race.
Well, nothing ever is done in an Nacra 17, is it? It always looks like something could go wrong at any moment with these boats. How in control do you feel in these kind of conditions?
Well, we feel in control. We train a lot. So I would say we are in control, but as you said, the Nacra is not an easy boat, and downwind can be very not predictable sometimes. So we just try we did our best to be focused on our job and not to think too much about the last goal.
Well, there we see you, and you're a little bit high of the mark. You've got two boats to leeward of you. and you go into the Barrowway now. The Jenica is is partially out already, and Maelle runs in and starts to hoist.
Exactly.
And the Danes not far behind you, so you can't afford too many mistakes.
Absolutely. They were close, and they are fast normally downwind. So now the cat and the mouse change position somehow.
Right. And they have a bit of a lower line than you. So it looks like the Danes, who we see there, have the opportunity to attack you, but I can't see the camera angle well enough to know if that's true. How much of a threat were they at this stage?
Well, they were not, we were going fast enough. So yeah, the tracker seems not as good for us, but we were confident at the moment.
I would say the tracker's saying you're just that little bit faster a lot of the time, actually.
Okay. Yeah, but it depends. Speed are very changeable in this situation. Anyway, our goal was to keep the boat as fast as possible and control them somehow. So try to not let them to go in another part of the race area. So there were a moment where they jibe and we follow pretty close. So probably, they jibe probably 10 seconds ago, and we decided to jibe now.
Yeah, so we just saw you going into the jibe. We also saw a big powerboat go past you as well. How much was there rogue waves out there that you needed to watch out for from commercial traffic and from other leisure traffic?
Well, it was not that important. Of course, you had to look at them, but not that critical.
Okay. So we see a 190-meter gap between the two of you at the moment.
Yeah, but it's not probably 190 to the mark. It is just a kind of lateral separation.
Yes, and the more lateral separation, the better for the Danes. So you can't afford to let them get too far away from you to the other side of the course.
Yeah, right.
So,
but still, 200 meters downwind are not that much.
No, absolutely not. So you've got to watch out for them. And then I don't know if you're even thinking about the Australians, but you've got to remember the Australians in the picture as well.
Yeah, I will. To be honest, at the moment we were pretty close on the Danish.
Yeah. So you've got a closing situation here, but you're still getting across them quite comfortably. We've got the other Italians, Tita and Banti, coming in towards the finish here. What do you see from their technique that you particularly like?
Well, they are, of course, one of the fastest boats downwind. They were probably the first team that start moving both crew and the skipper at the same time. And probably they put a kind of a benchmark in the first season. But I would say that now many teams copy them. So at the moment they are not putting anything. I didn't see anything particular in this condition. They are probably still very, very good in a more wavy condition.
They made a bit of a mess just across the finish there. It seemed like they crashed down off the foils, and it was not a flying finish by them. So it just goes to show these boats are always ready to catch people out.
Yeah, absolutely.
The French just crossing there, and we're looking at the virtual now, and you still are ahead of the Danes, but not by much. So it looks like there's not much opportunity to celebrate victory during this race.
Absolutely. We're until the end very concentrated, focused. And I remember in this last leg saying to Maelle, it's still not there. So keep pushing because they are very close to us. And once we realized that we were able to take in front of them, it was an incredible emotion.
There you are. It's just beginning to sink in with Maelle. So you've just crossed the finish line. Still got the Jenica up. Still got a bit of work to do before you can start celebrating. But what are your feelings at this moment?
Well, it was crazy. Still very emotional to look at this image. It was it was an incredible and massive result, both for the result himself, but also for the way we recover from a hard moment during the week. We had as everybody probably, but we have a very bad moment, and we never lose the grip on our goal. That's why this result is impressive, very, very sweet for us.
Tell us more about that bad moment.
Well, sometimes there are kind of mistake that kind of, let's say, not predictable things that happen or mistake that arrive. So, for example, one race once we turned the leeward gate, we didn't realize that they changed a mark. So we were leading a fleet during the qualification. We were leading a fleet. And then once we were in front of the fleet, we realized that they put a closest mark to the boat behind us. So from being in top 3, we ended up, let's say, around 15 position. And other times happened that May was very emotional during the last races, so we didn't have a good relationship while handling the boat, and so it was sometimes it's very hard to try to keep the mood positive on the team while things are not going properly. I also remember once I made the wrong call of doing single trapeze in the last medal race, and our leader to the boat behind us were closing. I remember Maelle super positive, asking and talking to me, saying, "Okay, let's do double trapeze." It's not so. I would say that it was a good championship for us because we made many mistakes as every team, but we were very fast in put the mistakes away and focus again on the situation in the future.
So it was a testing regatta for your relationship between you and Maelle, but you're pleased with how you dealt with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So there it was. Can't quite see your finishing scores because they're underneath. Let's have a look. 93 to 96. So you win by 3 points. So there wasn't much in it in the end.
No, absolutely.
So fantastically executed race after what was a poor start. You bounced back very quickly from that, and that didn't seem to affect you too badly.
No, but medal race let people, if they react fast during the medal race when the fleet is not that crowded, permit sailor to recover from bad start pretty easy. The important things in every race, but in medal race in particular, is to react fast once things get on the wrong way.
Yes, absolutely. And what things do you now need to focus on? I mean, we're as I speak to you, we're in the strange times of the coronavirus shutdown. But what are everything keeps on developing every year with the Nacra 17. It's such a young class. The foiling is still a fairly new innovation. So what do you need to keep on working on before Tokyo 2021?
Well, at the moment, I miss just sailing. So I'm not thinking about raising the bar, but instead to keep back on the track and sail again. And I would say that probably this year we will try to start using upwind foiling more this year. So trying to see if we will be able to extend the little condition where upwind foiling is working. And that's probably will be one of the key aspects of this season.
Yeah, it looks very effective when you can make it work. And I know that you were looking forward to the Nacra 17 Championship in Lake Garda, just a few kilometers away from your home. But we have to wait and see when you get your next opportunity to use it. But what about Enoshima, where the waves are enormous? Is upwind foiling something that you will be able to apply in those kind of Pacific rolling swells?
No, in that condition it's almost impossible, but sometimes Enoshima had shows also offshore breeze. Normally it happens in September, but it also happens during the test event, for example. And in this kind of condition, upwind foiling is working. So I would say that can happen, but for sure not in this big swell condition.
Vittorio, I know that you have to go. Life carries on even under the coronavirus shutdown. It's good to see that you're well. Thank you very much for sharing that half hour of dramatic action from Auckland at the end of 2019. And congratulations again to you and Maelle for coming through and winning that championship. And I wish you the best in the rest of your preparations for Tokyo 2021.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Catch up with you soon. Thanks, Vittorio.